All right. Good evening, everybody. I will call to order Chisholm City Council meeting, March 12th, 2025, 5:30 p.m. Susan, would you please take roll call?
Yes. Counselor Hollaba?
Here.
Counselor Fountain?
Here.
Counselor Baki?
Here.
Counselor Varda?
Present.
Counselor Halverson?
Present.
Mayor Lance?
Here. All right, council, look for a motion to adopt the agenda. We just have a couple changes. Mandy's going to be gone tonight, so Stephanie will be taking over hers. We will leave them right where they are as B. We will be removing number 3 under Jim. He can give us some further information on that. And under Stephanie, number 2, we are going to include the Chisholm Interim Police Chief Memorandum of Understanding. So with those removals and changes, I'd look for a motion to approve or adopt the agenda.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Pledge of allegiance, if you would.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Councilor Hollaba, is there any public participation?
None, Mayor.
Okay. We'll start out with council reports. Councilor Halverson, good evening.
Good evening. Last week I attended a joint meeting with the EDA, Parks and Trail Committee and the Redhead Committee regarding the connection of Redhead to downtown. It was hosted by Aaron Hodala, and it was very good, a very good meeting. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilor Varda, good evening.
Just a short report. I did attend the annual meeting for the Minnesota Museum Mine that was supposed to happen, but it got canceled for some reason. So now it's tomorrow night at 5 o'clock at Valentini's. $28 a person, I think it is. Public's invited. And also on the 5th of this month, I attended a fire meeting. They had 10 calls for February. There's a couple problems. There's a possible air leak on one of the tenders. And they're going to do pump training this month, which is always good for the fire department to keep up on. One air pack was taken out of service. And yearly physicals are due. They need to be done by April 30th, if I'm right with that date.
Somewhere on there.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you. Councilor Baki, good evening.
Good evening. Just a couple of things. I attended a police commission meeting where the MOU, I assume, came from. So we'll let that be when it comes up for discussion. Sad day for all of us. Last meeting for our amazing Chief Vern. So just as kudos to you, thank you for everything that you've done. Also, I just want to thank Bridget for her work with soccer. It is a big job, there is no doubt about it. She's taking on a big task, but combined between Keewatin, Hibbing, and Chisholm, we have over 300 kids, which is
That's awesome.
phenomenal.
Nice.
Phenomenal. So it's going to go well. We're going to make it work. We're going to host, and Keewatin's going to host that soccer league, and it's going to be great. So kudos to you, Bridget. I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Councilor Fountain, good evening.
Sorry. I attended a community ed meeting and a campground meeting, and I wasn't able to attend the Beyond the Yellow Ribbon meeting, but I did reach out to Chris Magnuson and to Lieutenant or Officer Ronchetti, and they gave us some dates and some things in the packet. If you guys are interested in attending or have any questions, it's in our packet. So, and thanks, Chief, for everything you do and have done for the past 30 some years for our city.
Thank you.
I appreciate you very much.
And Bill. Okay, fuel. Started fuel.
Thank you,
I
Counselor.
learned a good history at the last meeting.
Counselor Holiva, good evening.
Good evening. I attended the EDA, Redhead Park Trail Combination Board 2 via Zoom, went really well, lots of good information in that meeting. The last night I was in St. Paul, went to the Rams dinner with all legislators, and then today we went to the Senate, and we advocated for Chisholm. Spoke about housing, EMS projects we're working on in Chisholm. We had a meeting with Senator Huffman today, went really well, so more to come on that in the future.
Excellent, thank you. Also was part of the EDA, the joint meeting, regarding the trail builders, and the Redhead expansion. So it's very exciting events going to be happening over the next couple of years. So I can't wait for that to come into fruition. I also had a little meeting with Paul the other day from Rams. And definitely spoke very highly of you, Counselor, and passed on as much good things as I could. And he is going to be very active, and it's going to be a busy year. So appreciate you.
Thank you.
Ambulance Director, Ms. Larson, good evening.
Good evening, no report.
Chief Manor, good evening.
Suppose I should address Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you said, this is my last meeting. It might have been sound like it was hush hush. You can see the letters in the packet, I believe. I tried to keep it a little bit under wraps, and here's the reason why. I announced at the beginning of the year that I'd be leaving so we could start the process, but I've always tried to stay humble in a job, and this job is bigger than just me. It's about the community and the department and the city. So I didn't want a bunch of hoopla. I came in, I've been in front of a TV camera more often than probably any of you have in the last 15 years, and normally if I'm there, it's not a good thing. So I've had my share of the limelight, both good and bad. So I kind of keep it on the down low a little bit so it wasn't over big to do. That's just not who I am. But I do, since I'm here, I do want to thank, first of all, especially this council, all the council I've worked with have been good. You guys have been exceptional, very supportive, and I feel that, the departments feel that, and you've been an excellent council to work for. I'd also like to thank, all of my fellow employees and all the departments, but especially the ones that are on call. EMS and fire, police work, I truly believe it's not just a career, it's a calling. And even if you go in for it the wrong reasons, you won't last long. Or if you last longer, you realize you're there for the right reasons. And it's bigger than you. It's not about the money, it's about the citizens we serve. And to all the people that respond, and a lot of our jobs in the city respond as well to catastrophes as well. So thank you. You made our job a lot easier. And I can really say this new building, again, thanks for the council getting that through, is really starting to tighten up. And just being around the other departments is really starting to strengthen up and brought a lot of community pride and workability to our three departments. And lastly, the citizens. You're here, you represent Chisholm. We work for Chisholm, but especially in my position, I wouldn't have been successful unless they allowed me to be. And I'm not from Chisholm, but I certainly feel like the city adopted me because the citizens have made my job easier and made me able to police and have made my job a success, so in my career. So thank you to the citizens of Chisholm. Thank you to all of you, and good luck in the future. Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Chief.
Man, a few words. Sorry.
Mr. Johnson.
I'm sad because now we've got to find somebody new to harass about how long he's taking at the microphone. Just one quick note, we will be receiving bids next Wednesday morning at 11:30 on our 5th Street South infrastructure replacement project that we hope to bring back to the council then in 2 weeks for hopeful award. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Mr. Folstead, Public Works, thank you. Good evening.
Evening, Mayor, Council. A few updates. I was quiet the last couple meetings, and thanks for allowing me and Mandy to be gone for the state tournament, the last one. So, or on our way to state tournament for hockey. So, with that, in Public Works and Public Utilities, we continue to work with the design group of Chisholm, of course, on planning and speccing the new Public Works garage that we have that legislative money for, and then we'll be bringing forward also the Public Utilities heated storage building for all the equipment that Public Utilities uses and has. So it's truly great that we can work with Otto Mackey and his team at of the design group of Chisholm. So that's huge. I think all of you appreciate that as well. So thank you to the resident for bringing our attention with Marty about the 3rd Avenue and 3rd Street storm sewer. I brought it to MnDOT's attention, being it's MnDOT's responsibility within that right away there, and they accepted responsibility, and it wasn't on their list yet. So we appreciate that. And you've heard me say before, nobody knows these areas better than you. You've been living there for 5 years, 10 years, 40 years, whatever. You walk by there with your dog every day. When you see something, we appreciate that you do bring it up to us. So, and I've learned from Vern over the years that we all don't see the same thing, even though I just drove by it and you were there too. I've just said, Vern, how did you not see the stop sign? He's, well, I was looking for a needle in a curb or something like that. So we all don't see the same thing, but we just see different things. So even if you think I know, you're welcome to bring it up to me. So you actually said that, Vern. So, and there was a stop sign down he did not even see. So with that, I thank Vern too for I've learned, and I still reach out to Vern. So, and I probably will after you're gone. So I appreciate that. Thank you. We're enjoying the changing weather with all of you. We're doing projects. We're rebuilding docks. We got a new dock to put in at the boat landing this year. It's a huge upgrade if you spend any time down there. We added new garbage routes thanks to our friends in Balkan. I did not know there was a South Balkan. There's a South Balkan, and we now have a South Balkan route, and we have a bunch of customers down there. So welcome and thank you. Our rates are great, under $25 a month, and that's even dumped every month. So we continue to gain customers in the garbage service. Kenny Winkler, congratulations to him over at Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer District. He's the new, besides the facility manager, he's now the director. Norm Miranda has retired, so as of a few days ago. So we're in good hands with Kenny. Congratulations to him, and they're hiring over at the sanitary districts as well. So they're busy over there. And seasonal laborers, Susan is tracking that and let us know. We got one applicant so far, but we need many more. There's a lot of work to be done, all of you know, to make Chisholm beautiful. So we look forward to that. And parents, please help them kids get their applications because they won't do it themselves. We know that. So thank you for that. And I think Bridget probably alerted you that we have an agreement, or we're working on an agreement with our friends on the fair board. We're going to have a new campground this year for the folks that stay at the Redhead and stuff. More short term, that type of thing, by the night only, no long term. So, and kind of cater to those guests over there a little more that are near and dear to the Redhead. So with that, I just have exciting news in the council packet, which you've seen, and if there's no questions, that's enough for tonight.
Thank you,
I just
Larry.
have a comment for Larry. Larry can attest, I've probably called him 38 times when I wasn't on the council about problems in Chisholm, right?
Perfect, yep.
So anybody can call Larry, and he'll write it down and take care of it for you.
We want to know about it, sure, certainly do. So, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Parks, Trails, Rec. Ms. Mareska, good evening.
Mayor and Council. I have a few updates. One is that tomorrow at the Public Safety Building, there is a public feedback session for the master plan at Longyear Lake Park. We'll get down to the nitty-gritty of some of the details of the amenities going in there and get the public to share with us what their thoughts are. Giving them options to pick from, different stuff like that. So it would be a good event to attend. It's tomorrow at 5:30, Public Safety Building. And then Chisholm Vulcan baseball, softball signups are happening right now for another 15 minutes, I think, in the basement here of City Hall. If folks can't get there today, you can call Rich Neubauer to sign up for baseball, softball. His number is 969-3088. That's 969-3088. Skate rink, we did close earlier than, we thought that we would, given the weather. So we had a total of 33 days open, and that was it. And that was January, February. That was 406 skaters, though, and that averaged 12 skaters a day. So it gets utilized. And then, as Travis had said, we have a lot of soccer players this year. We have 101, up from 95 last year. So we are looking forward to a robust and competitive games with Nashwauk Keewatin and Kicks for Fun out of Hibbing. I think it'll be a good season. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bridget. Library Supervisor Christensen.
No formal report other than what's on the agenda.
City Attorney. You have
To report.
nothing? Oh, I was gonna introduce you, but yeah, no, we don't have to do that neither. Okay, we good? All right. Any questions for our interim attorney? No? All right. City Clerk Treasurer, Evan.
Good evening. I'll be quick, since I wasn't here last week. I just want to go through some of the stuff I've been working on the past couple weeks and kind of what's coming up at the end of March. Been working with Larry on the logistics to move the boards to the new skating rink over there. And also March 27th, I believe, is when they're going to start disassembling those boards and starting on the arena project. I've been working with the state to get everything in line to make sure that when we start receiving bills to pay for that, that will be set to go for reimbursements. That's one of the things with these bigger projects is, well, that I'm finding out is it can take a lot longer for us to get reimbursements. So cash flow, we can run a cash flow deficit for a while. So I just want to be on the front side of that so we can supply or we can request reimbursement as quickly as possible. I've been working with Jim on the lead service line. That's one of the cash flow issues that is kind of arising right now is, well, we're funding a lot of these projects and it's taking longer for us to recoup money or draw on those funds. It's not anything to be concerned about at the moment. Then EDA, I've been working with Steph on some reconciliations, getting EIN set up for the EDA and reconciling some of those accounts. Gambling report that was due March 15th, I got that in yesterday, so that's done for the year. And then the Bonnie Sturl sent me some audit confirmations, and I'll be starting on the reconciliations for the upcoming audit. Otherwise, that's all I really had, but I can field any questions if anybody has any.
So which boards are getting moved from where to where for hockey?
Boards, from the arena curling club project, so the indoor rink.
Oh, the indoor boards.
Yeah, and then we're gonna move them to the skating rink. So, they're really nice boards, and to have an outside rink, I don't know, it'd be really nice for the community, really.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Thank you, Devin.
You're welcome.
City Administrator, Ms. Grava, good evening.
Good evening. Just want to take an opportunity to thank Chief Manor. Like other people have said, he's been a guidance to a lot of us that have come through newer than him during this transition. But so thank you. Thank you for your service to the community and to us too. As part of the team, you've been great. So good luck, and I'm excited for you for your retirement.
Thanks. It's
Thank
not
you.
goodbye, it's just
Thank you, Steph.
different.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Consists of a list of bills, communications, minutes of previous city council meetings, payroll, and overtime. I would look for a motion and support to approve the consent agenda.
Motion.
Thank you, Marty.
Nope, Jim.
Oh, Jim, sorry.
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Any unfinished business? Hearing none, moving on to new business. Chief Manor. Vern, thank you.
Your worshipfulness in council. I had to throw it in one more time. This is the best meeting of the year because, beer equals sanity. So, all of the, that was a joke, you can laugh. Just looking for approval, all of the liquor license establishments have met their 2025 requirements to continue serving alcohol in the city of Chisholm. So all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed, and we're just looking for final approval from the council.
Okay, council, I look for a motion and support.
Go ahead.
I'll make them.
Thank you, April.
Or,
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. There's not usually any no's on that
Yeah.
one, so.
Thank you, chief. Okay, moving on, Stephanie, taking Mandy's items.
Yeah, the first item is the first reading of the land use ordinance fences 153.02. There was one addition to this ordinance, which is highlighted in yellow in your packet. So we're looking for approval. This has been approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's looking for approval for first reading.
All right, council, I'll look for a motion and support.
motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Second item on the agenda would be the second reading for the cannabis ordinance number 115. Looking for approval for the second reading on this ordinance.
Council, I'd look for a motion and support for the second reading.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim. I knew where that one came from.
Second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion? Marty?
I have a comment, yeah, I think it's much too restrictive.
Okay. Good.
I also have a comment.
Okay.
For 6-1, or 6.1, page 39. It says cannabis is not in any public place or place of public accommodation, which I understand that. But, there's cannabis products, are also, it is legal to serve the THC drinks. That's the only thing I'm thinking about here, because you can get them on tap for 5 milligrams of THC per serving, or you can buy them at the liquor store or at the bar. And the max is 50 milligrams of THC per package, and that's in the state statute, or in the whatever. But I just don't want that to, this here to prohibit that from anybody able to purchase.
Right. No, and I think right before that, in the section 6 for the use in public places. So as long as they are licensed, they can still sell their drinks. If you look at right over there, it says accommodation unless the premises is an establishment or an event licensed to permit on-site consumption.
Okay, so how would they get licensed?
Same thing like a tobacco or liquor license, I imagine. Right? Chief, you
Yeah,
got it?
license through the state. Remember, that was a change that was made that the city.
Oh,
won't
Chief.
be-
Why don't you come up here?
Just when you thought we were.
Yeah. We're not 100% sure yet on that, the whole licensing, and the attorney probably could talk better at this, because they changed that. The licensing now is going through the state. And at first, when they first came out with the law, they thought the cities would get a license, like the liquor licenses, where the state approves it, but the city actually gives the license. This is gonna be done differently. The application will be done to the state, and we won't even know. We're allowing an establishment to come to town, but that doesn't mean someone will be able to get a license for town.
Right.
And it's all done through the state. So, and that's gonna be open for discussion, and they're gonna revisit it for the next couple of years. So the answer your question, how does someone get licensed? They apply to the state. And I don't have any real direct answer for that. Unless you know something else, it won't be from us.
So I would, with our last conversations with Brian, and a lot of this that's already been out on the market, is the low dose hemp products is kind of
Yes.
what's out there now.
Yes.
So,
That's what we.
Yeah.
yeah.
And
So
those
are kind of
Yeah, those are two
grandfathered
different,
in,
yeah.
Right.
I just wanna
two
make
different
sure
things.
that it's been told that these people can sell the low dose hemp products.
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
that's, I want to make sure that that's
Right.
still a possibility.
Yeah, that'll still go on. Yep, there's still a market for that, and it's still part of that.
Perfect, perfect. I appreciate that.
To change the wording, so
Right.
it wouldn't get confused with the Windows hemp products.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the discussion at the last.
Only thing I will add that, once this goes into effect after the second reading, we can also bring this back, and when we find that if it is too restrictive, that we can, reevaluate this, so. But,
I'm assuming as the state reevaluates, cities will be looking at changes as well, or establishment. We just don't know how it'll go yet. So there'd be a little restrictive and then give it up a little bit easier when we see if it or isn't an issue. So,
any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
One opposed, motion carries. Okay, moving on. Jim?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. If you will turn to page 44, I believe it is, 44, 45. Anyway, the second page of the pay application, where they've got the breakdown of the different tasks involved. And if you go over to column E, it shows the work that was completed during this last month, which are all products or materials and equipment. Nothing in there for design or the engineering portion of the design. So as you see at the bottom, total of that column E, the work completed last month was $113,211.27. And since all of those are applicable to retainage, if you take 95% of that, which you'll see over in the the payment that'll be due is 95% of that, or as we go back to the first page, which I'll do in a few minutes, you'll find that the current payment due is $107,550.70. Just take you on that same second page over to column G, which talks about the total completed to date in each of those tasks and the percentage that represents of the total project. And as you get to the bottom, for the totals of that, you'll see that it's just under 15% completed of that total project. Then if you will turn back to the previous cover page of pay application number 4, as you see the original contract of over $5.5 million, just as we saw on column G of the previous page, the total work completed to date is $826,659.37. The 5% retainage on those items that applies to now amounts to $21,019.28. Previous earnings paid out were $805,640.09. That's the total work completed to date. I'm sorry. The previous payments are the $698,089.39. Resulting in a current payment due of $107,550.70. I would be happy to answer any questions you might have, but I would recommend payment to in Blight in that amount of $107,550.70.
All right, council, I look for a motion to approve pay application number 4 in the amount of $107,550.70.
I'll make the motion.
Support. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. If you move then to page 46, As stated in that request for council action last week, Wednesday, we received bids for our 2025 aggregate crushing contract. We received 2 bids that you see listed both on page 47 in the resolution, and then on page 48 is the actual bid tabulation with the unit prices and the total costs from those 2 bidders. The apparent low bidder is Dowazinski and Sons of Loretto, who is the contractor that last did it for us in 2018, 2019. They did an excellent job for us that I think Larry can attest to as well. We were extremely pleased to see their bid being the low bid as well, and with that, we would recommend award of that contract per resolution number 0325-28 to Dowazinski and Sons in the amount of $89,000. As a follow-up note to that, the gentleman that represents them viewed the site several times with Larry. We think, based on that bid tabulation that you see on page 48, that there may well be more than 10,000. Devin was alluding to, we did have a Zoom meeting today with representatives from the Public Facilities Authority to get things on track, also to seek funding for our lead service line replacements that we'll be doing, need to be doing in conjunction with our mill and overlay project. And that's really the next topic then, if you'll turn to page 60. As our work session the end of January, we presented a number of alternative streets and alleys. The direction we received was that there was a preference to do streets. Stephanie and Larry and I went through those and are suggesting to you or recommending to you that we do 4th Street northwest from 2nd Avenue to 7th Avenue. So we get that in a decent travel condition such that as we move forward, hopefully within a year or 2 on the 5th Street project, we give people a good alternative, smooth route to get in and out of their neighborhoods. We think in meeting with Stephanie and Devin, we think the net value needs to be about $200,000, and in the handouts that I think I provided to you now, yes. The 4th Street project is item number 22, both on the map and on the listing that you see on page 61. And what we are proposing is to bid that 4th Street project as the base bid, and then using the 2 7th Avenue projects, 20 and 21, as an alternative bid items, such that we think the total construction cost can be about $250,000, but with the revenues received, we'll meet that budget of $200,000. So that's how it's being proposed. What we're looking for is to get your approval that that is the street or streets that and avenues that we should proceed with this project, and then I've got a few items to move that project forward if you're in agreement with that. With that, Ed, be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
All right, Council, I think, any questions, suggestions, Marty?
Yep. Jim, on 7th Avenue Northwest, isn't there one more block in there that needs a mill overlay, kind of going up that hill? I thought it was one block in the north end and then another block in the mid.
The 2 blocks that need it are from 2nd Avenue to 4th Avenue. 4th Avenue to 6th Avenue was redone approximately 15 years ago, I think, Marty, that we replaced the sanitary sewer and the pavement on that piece of 7th Avenue. And then from 6th Avenue, 6th Street to 8th Street is the second 2-block segment. So there are projects 20 and 21 that will bid as alternative bid items. So we can do as much as we can for the budget that we're working with. We'll bring those back to you. And I'll go into the schedule here on the next item.
Mr. Mayor, one question.
Yep.
So far as the concrete streets, so they're in sections and they're raised up and heaved everywhere. Do they grind that down?
They can do a combination, and I think, I don't know the specifics of it, Jed, but they can either do some milling, or the other option that they can utilize is to actually put down a leveling course to take out those ruts, and then put a wearing course surface over the entire, to make a transition where those ruts exist.
Right.
So,
All right, council. That'd be my recommendation to go with Larry and Jim's recommendation. So I'll look for that motion.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion?
Well, I have one more thing, Mr. Mayor. I haven't heard anything from the public about, any streets that are, like out of this list we have, so nobody's really getting any phone calls to me about anything, so.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
probably next year you'll see that same list minus hopefully one or two of those items that are on that list, and probably some additional ones that we will identify. So thank you for that. In that regards, if you'll turn to page 62, as a result of the previous action, I asked for and received this agreement for professional services, and it made sense this year because basically 4th Street and 7th Avenues, all those streets were actually included in last year's feasibility for this project. So all the preliminary work has been done, so it should be rather quick and convenient for this consultant, SEH, to move forward with this project. With that, starting on page 63, you see the scope of work that is being proposed. And then at the top of page 65, the schedule that we're talking about is approval of the contract tonight, but also in the following items that I've got before you are the resolutions authorizing the preparation of the feasibility study and the plans and specs for this, with the idea that in a month we'll have the feasibility study to bring back to you to approve that feasibility and set the public hearing dates, then having the informational meetings and the public hearings in early May, and then receiving bids in either late May or early June, such that will allow us to get those reconditioning projects on 4th Street and hopefully 7th Avenue completed in July and August before the bituminous contractors get extremely busy and we have problems, and they have problems getting work done as we've experienced. What I want to point out is there are actually two items in this proposal that deals specifically with our reconditioning or our mill and overlay project, involve the feasibility study, the plan specs, specifications, and the bidding services, which if you look on page 65, totals $16,500. The city over the past couple years have contracted with HR Green that are inputting all our as-built information on sewer, water, storm sewer into the city's GIS system. And our consultants that have done these projects since 2015, when we entered into a contract with HR Green, have been providing those as-built information in the proper format to give to HR Green so they can load it right into the system without having to take it from one place and put it somewhere else. It's in the proper format is what I'm trying to say. Prior to 2015, we have as-built drawings, but we don't have the computer files, if you will. So what we're asking here is just to include the additional services for SEH to research those as-built files, pull them out of the archives, get them into the proper format that HR Green needs to implement that into our GIS system, and that amounts to $7,500. So the total contract is $24,000. It will be broken out in terms of billing. It'll be broken out separately, this extra work or this additional services from the mill and overlay project. With that, I'd be happy to try and answer any questions that you might have.
I have a question, Jim.
Yes, please.
Does SEH have the capabilities of doing that?
Of doing what?
Of integrating into our system? We need to make them so we can see them?
They just need to convert it, their drawing files, as I understand it. I'm not the tech person, Jim, to be asking this stuff. But they have the capability of converting it into the format that is needed by HR Green such that it can be done directly, and HR Green doesn't need to go back through a conversion process from one to the other. And both JPJ and SEH have been doing that on their more recent projects. We get hard copies of the as-built drawings, but SEH and JPJ have been forwarding them to HR Green in the proper digital format such that it gets into the city's GIS system.
Are the hard copies being put in a book for Leon to be able to locate? So he can look at paper maps instead of computer maps?
Yeah, nowadays you want the computer maps now, there's GIS.
I don't know, you can write on paper maps.
Jim's the old timer that still has it in paper copy in the files.
Should have both.
All right, council, I look for a motion support to move into agreement with professional services with SEH. And the cost not to exceed $24,000.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Jed.
I think Marty had a question.
Oh, sorry.
I'll wait.
Oh,
Thank you, April. Any discussion?
Yeah, for clarity, Jim, page 62 in the memo says prior to 2015, what page 64, the SEH is saying dating back to 2015.
Yeah,
So
that was a typo on my part.
So we're
because
looking at.
It's those plans and specs prior to 2015.
Where we did
Yeah,
get the CAD
yeah,
files.
before
Okay.
we actually had entered into the agreement with HR Green for those GIS services.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
And there were some, actually, Marty, in there from Benchmark as well.
Yeah.
Some projects that date back, well, your First Avenue Northwest project is probably one of those. And
Yep, thank you.
so it involved Benchmark, JPJ, and SEH.
Any other questions? Travis?
Not a question, Jim, just a general statement, I guess. I thought that, I'm not gonna buck this project, but both JPJ and SEH, we've had issues with in the past. It's no secret that I'm not a huge fan, but I thought we agreed that we were gonna look at a broader scope when it comes to engineering services.
We intend to do that, and I think what I had said at that time and what I still intend to do is as that Fifth Street Northwest project moves forward to serve the infrastructure from Second Avenue to Seventh Avenue, as that project moves forward, my intention is to go out for requests for proposals for feasibility plans and specs on that project. With the last couple with specifically SEH, some of it was timing on the school project. On the mill and overlay, it was because they already have records. But it is my intention and my commitment to you that we will be going out for proposals for that next big infrastructure project, which we think is the Fifth Street project.
All right, fair enough.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Mayor. If you'll turn to page 71 and 72, what we have before us then to move forward with that reconditioning or mill and overlay project, first of all, is Resolution 0325-30, ordering the preparation of the feasibility report that we hope to be able to bring back to you at your first meeting in April. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Council, I'd look for a motion in support for Resolution 0325-30.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Marty.
Support.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Thank you,
carries.
Mayor, members of the council. And likewise, if you turn to page 73 and 74, we have the resolution ordering the preparation of the plans and specs for that street reconditioning or mill and overlay project. Again, this will allow those plans and specs to start being prepared, but we will not be able to approve those plans and specs and authorize advertisement for bids until after we've held the public hearings, which again we're anticipating would be in May for those, with bidding hopefully being received in late May or early June. Again, with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Council, I'd look for a motion of support for resolution 0325-31.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
And if you'll turn to page 75, we have the request from Mr. Gigliotti. Is that my regarding the sanitary sewer lateral repairs. And what I would like to do, after passing my Drawing 101 class many years ago, just pass a copy of that around.
Artist, you not.
Yeah.
Engineer.
Come on, give me a break there. We'll make you a short
You
timer.
started on cave drawings, I know.
Computer cards. Have you got enough?
Cave drawings.
If I might just give you a little bit of background and history, hopefully the drawing will do a little bit of the explanation of that. What previously existed prior to 2001, when Lake Street was a turnback project from MnDOT to the city of Chisholm, at this particular building, as with most of those buildings along Main Street, there existed 6-inch vitrified or ductile iron piping coming out from the building, and that same 6-inch diameter pipe ran all the way to the old mains. When the project was reconstructed then about 2000, 2001, what happened was that sewer main was replaced, as well as the lateral service from the main to the building front or to the right-of-way line, which is what I'm trying to show you in red. What's in blue there to the left of that wall is kind of what was existing at that time, but that again extended all the way out to the old main as well. From the letter, when that project was bid, it was the bid documents actually did not even have Ys or Ts for these services. That was added to the contract by change order. But the problem was recognized, according to a letter that I have from the contractor, that the firm that did the design and was providing the construction management construction inspection ordered the connection to be made just as you show on the drawing, such that 4-inch PVC pipe was extended through the foundation or under the foundations into the inside wall of the building. And then with just outside the building, you see what I've shown in green is kind of what they call a fernco, or an adapter that is to seal that 4-inch to the old existing 6-inch vitrified clay pipe in this regards. I don't know what happened to the annular space between those two pipes. There's got to be a lot of sediment sitting in there and growing a little bit ripe, I would think. But anyway, that raises a question, and we've had this come up, as you're aware, on many businesses along Main Street as a result of that, and how to resolve that. Nick and his partners submitted some letters seeking reimbursement under the policy, which actually sunset at the end of 2024. The request was taken to the Public Utilities Commission and brought forward to the council as well, that they agreed to extend the date on that 25% participation by the city. The discussions that have been going on with Nick and his partners is what is the city responsible and how do we do it in an appropriate manner. In Nick's letter to you, there was discussion about being code compliant. Mandy isn't here tonight. We've talked about this, and if you're putting in something brand new, absolutely you don't want to create the bottleneck, is what I'm getting at. This is a case where it already exists, has existed for 20, 25 years. What Mr. Thronson has done in the past with many of those businesses is exactly what we're proposing here, is shown in purple, is just inside that wall that you open up that floor, dig down to the existing sanitary sewer lateral, and then put in either a small diameter manhole or what they call a cleanout, which would then allow that transition from the 6-inch to the 4-inch to occur. If there should be a blockage at that point, you've given us, or given easy and convenient means of correcting the problem. With that, I think that is as much as I need or know about the situation, but that would be our recommendation. The one thing I did find out since in looking at the contractor's letter to us, it's dated back in 2006, is that they had were instructed, so I'm assuming it's there, and as shown in red, is that they extended that 4-inch pipe through beyond the foundation and inside the building. So hopefully, I think in Mr. Thronson's cost estimate to Nick, that they were anticipating putting in a liner that would transition from the 6-inch to the 4-inch outside the building. 6-inch inside the building to 4-inch outside the building. Hopefully, if that has been extended through, it makes it even more convenient and less costly in this regard. So our recommendation would be to participate up to 25% of that estimated cost of $5,750 or $5,700. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions, but possibly Nick wishes to comment as well.
So, Mr. Mayor, relining that pipe, does it take care of that transition then? If I'm understanding this right?
That would be the idea, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, through the manhole or through this cleanout. The cleanout is a manufactured product where it would still be 6 inches coming down, and then it wiser heads towards the street. And just after it ties into that 4-inch, or it is a 6-inch, then it would transition to a 4. So it's again accessible, so you can get in there with a claw or a rotor-rooter or something like that, or a snake. A manhole takes place right within the manhole itself, that it's open 6-inch on the upstream side and 4-inch on the downstream side, and there's a flow, consistent tapered flow line invert through there.
They're relining this whole pipe though, right? Here?
That would be up to them and their responsibility.
Right.
That whole section was televised by City Crews last fall. Mandy and I have reviewed that, and it's in good condition. There's no root intrusion, there's no pipe breakage. If they want to do that, they can certainly do that. It's just under the building code and beyond what is normally the city's responsibility, as I understand it.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question. You can even answer this, Nick. Were we not talking about this the first time I was on council, 5-6 years ago?
We weren't aware of the problem when we purchased it.
I'm pretty sure we had this discussion.
This has been going on since
we
about
approved
2000.
valves.
I mean, I can't believe this hasn't been handled.
The first time that
I don't
you
think it
were
was
on
Jim's
here-
building.
It wasn't.
Right, it
Dirty
wasn't
West.
Nick- it wasn't Nick's
No,
building.
it was Val's.
Valves.
Val's was our first time
Oh,
around.
whoever owned it. I can't believe this hasn't been taken care of yet.
No, I don't think it was that building that we were talking
It
about.
was that building. I know it was.
I'd have to go back and look at my records, Jim. I've got all those files
That was
yet.
a different problem.
The timeline,
But,
it's,
so this will make it,
City's cost would be about $1,450 max, if,
well, I'm not worried about the cost.
Okay.
But this will make it, for lack of a better word, legal for the city then? And, Nick? I mean, it'll be copacetic?
I think it's, with the existing conditions that are there, you know, if it was all new, as I said before, we wouldn't be creating the bottleneck. It shouldn't have been a bottleneck in the first place, but that's in the past, in past history. I think this is The legality, I'll leave to the attorneys, but I think it's the most common sense and most economical solution to this on behalf of both the city and of the property owner. He's got 75% of the cost, but with it being easily accessible through this clean out or through this manhole, I don't see it as being a big issue, and this is exactly what Mr. Thronson has done on a number of the other ones with the same history.
So is the clean out gonna be right inside your wall or outside on the sidewalk?
It's inside his,
Okay.
it's inside his building.
I think the last time the only one that I could recall was Valentini's, the first term that we were on here, and I'm pretty sure we did the 25% with them, so.
And that was an emergency one that we cased in, but I think everything else, I think we didn't see any ones because they all went to the Public Utilities Commission. I believe in it, except I could be wrong.
And I know
too,
it dates back to when Steve Erickson and I were here. We did that research and history on all of that stuff, and at that point, we were paying 100% of the cost is what it amounted to, and then 4 or 5 years ago, we went through the Public Utilities Commission to set up the sunset rule that the last year of participation was 2024. And because we were aware of this problem before the end of 2024, it was taken to the Public Utility Commission that approved participation or continuation or extending the sunset on this one case. So hopefully this should be the last of these.
Mr. Thronson did something similar like this on a private residence that I was aware of, and it's basically the same thing. So I think that this will alleviate the issues of future backup, and except if there ever is a backup, or someone flushes a towel or anything like that, having that clean out, they're able to access it conveniently.
Quickly, conveniently, economically.
It'd be my opinion that we approve a 25% reimbursement on the option 3 if it's in the Northland lining.
Question?
Yep.
At the time, and Jenny alluded to it, in 18, 19, when did you buy the building? 2019?
We bought it in the fall of 2018.
18. What was the reimbursement schedule at that time, percentage-wise? Does anybody know?
I believe at that time it was probably still 100%. Marty, I'd have to go back and find the resolution where we set up the sunset, but 2024 was 25%, so 23 would have been 50%, 22 would have been 75%, and 21, so about 20 or 21, Marty.
When did we, do you recall when we did Val's? I know it was when I've been sitting in the seat, so it had to have been, the latest it could be is 2018, but I'm pretty sure we only did 25% at that point, because Chapel was here.
I remember Canaan as PUC, so.
Actually, I wrote a memo to the Mayor and City Council back in January 20th of 2016, and Steve Erickson and I had performed. This was the first 5 businesses that came in that were at 5 West Lake Street, 18 West Lake Street, 121, 127, and 217 West Lake Street. I think there's been several since that time, but I don't have that information with me right now. Valentini's is one of them. I remember that one. And I think there's maybe 2 or 3 others that may have come in between 2016 and the Valentini one.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
As I recall, there was numerous failures immediately.
Yes.
Immediately. As soon as the project was done.
The contractor didn't connect lots of the
Yeah,
services.
some of the buildings weren't even connected.
Yeah.
It was that bad. I would recommend a higher amount. More than 20.
I'm sorry, Marty, I didn't hear you.
I would recommend a higher percentage than 25.
But I don't think they had a sewer
They bought the building in
inspection.
2019. The problem did start manifesting itself shortly after they got their business going.
I think that's the council's decision. We had the sunset rule set up.
So first of all, I don't disagree with you, but the issue that I have is when that schedule came out, we followed that schedule and Valentini's came here and we had the same issue. And if we're gonna do a higher percentage here and we didn't do it there, now we're in a pickle.
I wasn't on the council then. I can't
So-
speak to that.
Correct, but I'm just saying that's where like my struggle would be, which is why I would agree with Adam, that we should be consistent with it, because we already set that precedent that if it was 25%, that's what it was at that point. So that's just where I'm at.
Mr. Mayor, do we have a copy of the sewer lateral when they purchased the building?
I'm sorry,
Do
Jed.
we have a copy of the sewer lateral when they purchased the building?
No.
No.
When they first did what?
When they bought the building in 2018, ordinance says you have to get sewer lateral, correct?
Yeah, they didn't do one.
Yeah, they didn't do one.
No,
That's
there
what
wasn't-
this
there-
whole thing is.
Okay.
They weren't allowed to buy the property without a sewer lateral inspection. It should never been allowed.
Right.
So even their title company failed,
Okay,
is how I understand it.
That is
okay.
So it's messy, really, Marty, it's messy. And that's why I don't think it was actually this one, Jim. I believe it was Valentini's, because this was never brought up, this was never sewer lateral inspection. No.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, how does it not get televised? That's mandatory,
Mhm.
Chisholm, when there's a sale.
Right.
Nick
Mr.
and
Mayor, I'll make a-
Joel will have to
Make
address
a motion, you
that.
could cover 25% of the costs to the verbiage in there.
Is there support?
Yeah,
This one?
25%.
25%.
Support?
Thank you, April. Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion?
I'll reiterate, 25% is too low.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
One opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Was it just one hole?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, moving on. Mr. Folstad, Larry, welcome back.
Thank you. I'm very pleased to bring to you a resolution number 032532, appointing Ryan Lubers of Chisholm as our new employee in the Public Utilities Department, water sewer utility person. So, I know Councilor Baki especially has a big smile on his face when he hears Chisholm. All of you do too, but Travis is the first.
All right, council, I look for a motion and support for resolution 0325-32.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Support?
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? Says congratulations, Mr. Levers.
Thank you.
All those in
Glad to have
favor?
him.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bridget, welcome back.
Thank you. On page 85 of your packet, there is a lease agreement with the Minnesota DNR to access land to complete the rim trail on the east side of Redhead Mountain Bike Park. This allows for the trail to be a natural surface trail all the way around the pit, eliminating some usage on the Masabi Trail, and also it eliminates what we have considered a dangerous intersection crossing the Chisholm ATV Trail. This agreement is for 10 years at the amount of $1,120, and that could be taken out of the GoFundMe support that was given, the crowdsourcing support that was given for the mountain bike expansion that we have in a separate bank account. So looking for support
I'll
of
make
this.
a motion to support it coming out of that fund.
Thank you, Jim. Supporting someone with the Redhead Trail. I think I need a break. Congratulations, Bridget.
Yeah.
Is there support?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jed. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
There hasn't really been a decision to close the crossing of the ATV trail yet.
Right.
Committee hasn't really addressed that issue yet.
So there's multiple crossings of the ATV trail, but this expansion does make so that some of the crossings don't have to happen. This eliminates, I believe, 2 crossings.
Yeah, it'll eliminate the traffic trying to cross the ATV trail, but it gives,
Okay.
that crossing will probably still be there, I think, just so that people coming from Hibbing can access from there. They don't have to come all the way to the north end to get
On the
back to
four-wheeler,
the south
okay.
end.
Thank you.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Katie, good evening.
Good evening. So on page 97 of your packet, just requesting approval for the updated library intern job description. The only changes we're looking at from the previous year includes an increase in pay from $15 an hour to $16.50, just to be consistent with the other summer hires.
Excellent.
Make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, April.
Second.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you. And then with that updated job description, I'd like to request approval to move forward with advertising efforts, conducting the interviews, and also the hire of a temporary library intern to begin work in May of this year.
Excellent. The council, look for a motion and support.
Motion.
Second.
Travis, thank you, April. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on. Stephanie.
First item I have on the agenda is the general fund grant agreement for the Chisholm Ice Arena and Curling Club. As Devin had stated, we are moving forward with the project that will start shortly, and these are kind of some final grant agreements that we have for the bonding that we have received from the state. So we're looking for approval on this.
The council, look for motion and support to approve the general fund grant agreement, the construction and the grants for the Chisholm Ice Arena Curling Center project.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Support.
Thank you, Marty. Any further discussion? Appreciate the hard work all the staff is doing with this, so thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
It doesn't, are all the permits in place already? Because it says February 2025. For the project timeline, are we all set on that?
I don't know exactly.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So so the contractor is the one that gets the permits,
Okay.
and they do have the ones through the city.
Okay.
Yeah. So Mandy said that they have, they reached out to her. I think she's released the permit like last week, maybe. I believe.
Well,
it was.
because she said on Tuesday's meeting, she
Yeah.
had released all the permits, and they were there.
So we're good on the timeline. This is, it's going
We
great.
are. So
Great
there's
job.
actually both of those facilities will shut down after this weekend. So there's big things going on. There's the skating show. There's also the junior bond spiel at the curling club. So once those events are done, then they will be shut down for the spring, and then this project will start right after that.
Oh, wow.
And then it won't reopen again until October. So we won't have our normal spring and fall ice like we typically do. So there'll be a little bit of disruption for that, but there'll be the normal winter ice.
Okay.
Unless that's the anticipation that we'll be back open for normal winter ice.
Awesome. Great
Yeah,
job.
with a rink that isn't gonna fail. Well, that was the overall goal.
Starts on time and will end on time.
Still gonna be here?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
Is Rec still gonna be at Rec?
Oh, no, this summer rec will not be at the curling club because of the construction, so it's going to be at the armory.
How wonderful is that?
And it was very cheap rental too, was it?
Yeah,
Like
so
$100.
they worked well with us and have been a good partner, so hopefully that won't disrupt too much of summer rec either, because they'll be still close to the amenities that they're used to.
Wonderful news.
So thanks to Bridget for working on that.
All right, moving on to the memorandum of understanding.
So this MOU, Captain Bouquet has been appointed as the interim police chief in the absence of our current retirement of Chief Manor. And before we hire a permanent, our position is still posted until the end of this week. The committee will be meeting next week to go over applications and schedule interviews. So within that interim time, obviously, we need to fill this position, and Captain Bouquet will be our interim chief. With that, there is just a couple things that needed to be addressed on this MOU, which is all pretty much union related. So showing that he will still be able to hold his seniority and accrue in the LELS contract, but will also have some additional duties, obviously, as the interim chief. The pay rate will change. He'll be responsible for, like the discipline and that sort of things with the current staff. So that's what this is.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Captain Bouquet. Yeah. New council, I'd look for a motion and support to approve the MOU.
Motion.
Thank you, Jim.
Support.
Travis?
Yeah.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion?
Good question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
How many applicants do we have for chief? Do you know?
I do not. I'm sorry.
And then, who's on that committee?
So it's the police commission that appoints this position.
Are you gonna be on that committee?
I am on that committee.
So am I.
yes.
Well,
Our council reps on that committee, the commission is, and then we have two outside folks that work in the industry.
is there anybody else that you guys want on there?
I think
You
that's
think?
what they decided
I
on.
think that's good. I think we're
I
good.
just wanna make sure you're.
Yes.
Will the
Yep.
local guy be applying to do the full time?
We're not privy to who applied, just so we kept everything to come to City Hall, not, so I have no idea who's
okay.
applied.
Okay.
And we try to keep it that way, just so it
That's
wasn't
fine.
too much, I just say when I interviewed, it was a full council, plus commission, plus outside people, and it was an open meeting, so there were people in the gallery. So things were a little different. They were trying to keep it a little bit easier than that, so.
Yeah.
Okay, we have motion support. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving along. Councilor Oliva.
Thank you. So the city of Chisholm recently completed the move of the gym equipment from the old police fire hall to the old ambulance building. I'd like to revisit the policy to discuss liability versus benefit. Though we all agree we should limit liability for the city, I think we can agree that access to the gym is an asset to employees, especially retired employees. Open up the policy to retired employees who are in good standing, such as those who have reached retirement age and are currently collecting a set retirement, and fire association members who have met 100% vested statute. Would limit it to employees who have served the city loyally for a length of time and reward their service. Kind of like you served us, let's serve you type thing.
I agree. You've got the liability waiver here, they're still signing that.
So what you're saying, I have a question. So what you're saying is a guy named Jim who 10 years in the fire department can't use his gym? Because that wasn't 100% vested?
If you're asking me, Jim, you'd go down to 30 West and buy a membership
could.
at a local business.
I
You know, they got a $5,700 bill they got to pay.
They're very busy there already, so.
No, but we could change it if you want to, I guess.
I do want to point out, when we first set the policy, we did some corrections on it. We restricted it. There was no thought of any type of conflict. But as we sit here tonight, looking at what retirees can have, we do have 3 active members on our EMS service and fire and a retiree. So I think 4 of us are probably going to have to abstain of whatever we do here, because we all stand to benefit financially if one day we retire and no longer have to pay for a gym membership, or would have to be forced to pay for a membership. again, we can have there's a good debate on, somebody served, the community and we can always give back to them. We brought up before that some individuals stay on our insurance, so it can help by, keeping people healthy. And the same arguments I hear also are, I think that my spouse should be able to come down here also because, well, one, safety, you're not working out alone. Two, they are also welcome onto our city's insurance policy. And then from there, it goes into, well, my kid's now of age, now then they can come to the gym, or they should be able to come with me. And then it can go on and further, and pretty soon we have a policy with 2 pages long, and every board member and counselor and city staff member and spouses and children are, utilizing it. So I don't see a fair way to end it. So I will always stand that we should end it with current active city employees only, would be my opinion. I know every membership that we take away from our downtown local business is cumulative to about $500 per year. Might not be a lot, but I know it adds up, and I know that they would definitely like to have every membership opportunity possible. But that's all I'm going to say.
I would like to make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we add all retirees, all City of Chisholm retirees can come up to City Hall and sign a liability waiver and get access from our city administrator.
Okay, thank you, April. Is there support?
I'll second.
Seconded by Marty. Any further discussion?
So what defines a retiree?
Are you collecting para? Are you collecting,
You're saying that you're talking about everybody's vested, so like the Jim's got 10 years in,
I was 60% vested. I got a one-time retirement check that went to my retirement.
yeah, absolutely.
The part is that when you got hired, 10 years was 100% vested, and then it was changed.
It was
right
changed,
after.
yes.
So I was hired on the same thing.
Yep.
I'm saying all retirees
But,
who retired from Chisholm.
well, the reason I ask is because in our world, what's retiring?
Yeah, so, para does have a timeline as to how many years you've served versus how old you are,
Right.
and whether it's considered a retirement or if you have to wait until you hit an age that you can collect your retirement. So it's the same thing as the fire department being vested in a relief association. Para is the same thing, it's just a different pot of money. So depending on how many years you serve and how old you are, is how much you collect off of your retirement. But you will get a para retirement after
Yeah.
3 years.
It's 3 years now. The state
3
had
years.
just changed it. It used to be 5.
So EMS is a little bit more lenient,
If-
bigger pot of money on the retirement.
And you'd still get that para if you retire, not if you're vested after 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone that works 3 years would be para eligible.
3 years, I guess. Any summer help work 3 years?
Yeah.
10-year.
They work 3 seasons, 4 seasons. That's not a year.
Well, they don't get a pension.
Yeah.
Right.
So I don't know where the line is at.
I think that's the key, is defining who qualifies.
Yeah, they don't need para, the summer employees.
Most of that was facetious.
I'd say full
Yeah.
retirement,
I need to look up some definitions, and maybe we can ask the attorney as well.
I mean, yeah, right now I'd kind of recommend maybe tabling it and looking up to define, like you said, what defines a retiree, who qualifies, all that stuff. And maybe Mr. Lindsay can draft a more thorough thing and bring it in front of the council for you guys to review.
Yes. I'd like to amend my motion.
Amend your motion
I
to,
would like to
table it?
Table it and have Mr. Lindsay draw something up to make sure that
Yep. Will you pass that along to Brian?
Mayor, may I add one for discussion for later, is that maybe the employee that retired didn't leave in good standing.
Right.
So you gotta draw a line somewhere, but there's those situations as well, I know one, so.
Right. Well, and I also, I mean, I'm, I don't know, what, 3 years or better now at this point? But I work very, very rarely. I'm not afraid to admit that. Like, I just don't have the time to be on the ambulance, but when I do, I help when I can.
Absolutely.
But I don't feel like I should qualify for this, but I will. Like, that's, I mean, I pay a membership to 30 West, but now this is allowing me to pull that. Really, so I mean, we have to define, like, I think number of years should be a discussion point here.
Yeah.
But I think our pair is activated by how much you make per year though, correct? You have to put in so much per year for it to even qualify?
First year, you have to make $3,000, I believe it is, and then once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
There's a limit, yeah.
You
Yeah,
earn as
once
much
you're
as
in.
they put in as much as you earn. So
Okay.
it's not a set amount every year, it depends on how much you work.
Okay.
And I think that's right, is, you know, you gotta look at defining how much time in a person in good standing, you know, obviously you wouldn't want, although we did our jobs right, you're retiring people, you're getting rid of people if they're not in good standing, but
Right.
that's another discussion, but, and in the end, when you really look at it, it's a small group. It's very few people, that actually take advantage of working out. So, and some people, a lot of my guys have gym memberships, some of them have two, because they actually like that, being around people, it's their social hour. You know, they very seldom do this when they have time, or they're pinched for time, they come here. So, you know, there's a million different variables on that, but it's really just small. And please don't think this is because I'm retired. Jed brought this in, and thank you, Jed, for bringing it. I obviously use the facility, but it's a small amount of people that actually, especially after retirement, still work out, so.
Kinda sounds like it needs a working session.
Already this time of the year?
Well, otherwise, you know, Brian's gonna come back and then we'll have the same conversation again and then we'll pick it apart and then we'll have to go back again and again, so.
So,
We can make.
does Marty, agree with?
Do you amend your second to
Yes.
table it?
Yeah, I recommend tabling it.
Yep.
And working session, I think, would be wise.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye. And, well, can I get a motion to appoint April and Marty to a committee to work with the staff to draw up that?
I'll make that
Well,
motion.
you can send it off to them so that way it doesn't come back here a bunch of times. We don't have to have a working session. Send your input to Brian.
Fine with me.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's good, bring it back to work.
So you don't maybe doing a working session or no?
No,
Because we will need
I won't be
that.
there. Yeah. Marty, can I get you to second that?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
It's good to have the language to come up with, and this is what the consensus.
We will need a working
Yeah.
session.
Can you
Liquidated
repeat what-
damages from TNT.
Can you repeat what they just, that April and Marty just agreed to?
First one was to table the discussion,
Yeah.
and the second one was to create a committee with April and Marty to work with Brian. And Brian can send them some language back and, you know, before it comes to council.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Yep. Okay, last up, thank you, Councilor Hellebuff. We're working with Commissioner Jugovich. So we need desperately to make sure that we have representation up here for the LCCMR board. So I'll look for motion and support for this letter of recommendation to appoint Commissioner Michael Jugovich to the LCCMR board and send that off.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Travis.
Support.
Thank you, Jim. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anyone have anything for miscellaneous?
Are we gonna set a working session or do it at the next meeting?
We'll probably do it at the next meeting, because we're gonna have to set one for, another, the Fifth Street project, so,
Alright, I got something for it too,
okay.
so, alright.
Look for a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion?
Thank you, Jed.
Support.
Thank you, Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Have a good night, everybody.